Astral Dragon from Astral Dragon Gaming, and this is a review of The Sword of Ditto, an indie game made by One Bit Beyond and published by Devolver Digital. Is this a new Zelda wannabe? A new look at an action-adventure, or something in between? To start out, the style is very much the slight isometric top-down that is the standard look that comes from the look of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and most pixel RPGs. But that is kind of where the comparison stops. The art style is like the designer from Adventure Time decided to say, hey, let's make a game. The whole thing is a colour dream that blinds your eyes with its beauty. The animation is the art style is smooth and has a weight to it that gives the impression that everything and everyone is a real object in the world and has some serious impact. Each sword swing looks fantastic. Each spell or effect makes a real interaction with you and the other things in the world. Like the time you light the grass and it follows from one clump of grass to the next. The effect is absolutely extraordinary, not to mention the fire, flames and everything else that comes from it. Enemy and objects you interact with are part of the scenes, and sometimes you get lost in the whole of it, but at the same time it looks so real and so part of the actual game. The game supports some keyboard and gamepad. The controls are very smooth and responsive, allowing the player to change from one enemy to the next with little difficulty. Rolling, or the dodge in this game, is a must you have to really learn how to use, because if you stand still you can get swamped by enemies and boom, you're dead. But death is the main focus of this game, because each death brings a new character to the fray and you get fed to the meat grinder once again as the Sword of Ditto. Every time you come back, you start again. You have your own sword and your basic items and what cash you had left. Also, your player will change as well, from a boy to a girl, and then a fox and a dog, and so on. The loop of the game is to go to the dungeon, collect the items that you need, destroy the main villain's toys, then go kill the boss. Look, it's a good 8.5 out of 10 for what it's worth. The sound is full of your classic gameplay. Swing a sword, check. Bombs, go boom, check. Monsters explode on cue, check. But it's the little noises that make the difference here, such as the sounds of the player as their feet changes from one surface to another, or the environmental sounds of the wind, rain and sea. All the sound gives a depth and a 3D quality as well. If you hit a monster with a fire damage and you know they're going to die, just walk away a few feet and you'll hear them go poof right in the background where their flames consume their entire body at a distance. But to add to this, there is some minor congratulations to the sound of walking through the grass and cutting it. Like I said before, and it really is one thing that makes it very important. When you hear that whoosh sound, when you feel like you're actually cutting grass or doing something with the world, that's what makes it such a big plus on this particular game. Good 8 out of 10 for the sound qualities, because the bites are fantastic. At the very outset of the game, the music hits you in the face, like in open credits where the sword slams down onto the logo and the music just makes you bop along and gives you that feeling of joy and fun like you're a kid again. Also, the layering of the different instruments is fantastic, with a kazoo coming in out of nowhere, and one of the more interesting choices, but all the music is loud and proud, knowing what it has to support. The sound changes regularly, but never seems to be in your face all the time, and it comes and goes to maintain talking points and whatnot. It doesn't. What's the word? The best word is that it doesn't actually just sound right in your face all the time. It actually fades out and gives them characters time to actually speak and interact with each other and not be overpowered by the soundtrack that comes behind it. Sound and music, I'd have to give it a 9 because it's a soundtrack that I would keep in my thing and play it all the time. It bops along and it's brilliant. So now we get to the story. You wash up on the beach of Ditto, and a ghostly dung beetle called Puku wakes you and thrusts you into becoming the Sword of Ditto. You grab the sword and get some funky threads and cool toys, and off you go to see the big bad, Mormo, and then you die. And 100 years has passed, and the next being taking up your job, guided by Puku to the grave where it needs to grab your sword and try and do your job better. And that is the game in a nutshell. You are basically charged with trying to lift the curse from the land of Ditto single-handedly, with each time you succeed, killing Mormo, or die from something, the whole 100-year cycle begins anew. Now you are progressing to get new toys and more power, but the only way to keep this is by unlocking the Celestial Whale to give you stuff and stuff for you to use for your next meat suit. This is not the only way the game tests you, but it's also in your levels, your skill increases, the stickers, the various adaptations, the whole list of other things. In some respects this game is quite shallow, but at the same time this game is quite deep because there are a lot of different quests and other tiny things. There are side quests to the entire main story. The main story is basically there to give you an entire thing, but the one thing that's most important about the story is that you have a limited time period. In the easy mode you have 7 days, in the medium mode you have 5, and in the hard mode you have 3 days in which to complete the quest, finish all the things up on your bucket list, and then without any choice for yourself you have to go and fight Mormo the witch. But that's the whole thing of the game. It's about being hard, and the game forces you to get good. Otherwise, you die, and you do the whole thing over and over and over again until you get it right or you die. The Sword of Ditto has been a game I've been watching for many months and keenly anticipated its release. But that said, I cannot finish this review without pointing out the flaws and glitches. At times you will find the shadows will glitch and stray away from various objects and other things. It's basically a layering issue that just seems to pop up. And the tiles that have been used in the game sometimes will actually not line up or actually misalign, and you'll get tiny little black lines. And that's where you see the flaws within this game. When I first fired up the game it would crash, and as soon as I tried to start a game, bang, not an absolute chance of getting through. All this is minor gripes because the game is solid. There is nothing else to be said about it. It's fun and it is enjoyable. You will find the charm of Zelda and a living cartoon, but also the gameplay that gives you the action to so satisfying and addictive in some respects. The game has a ton of replay value, but will definitely have a lot of payoff when you finally get things right. Grinding is a must in this game to understand the buff system and the leveling of the toys, the sword, and getting upgrades for the sword. But when you get it right, when you get flaming power and something to stop them draining all your magic and whatnot, you feel like a god. You can basically take on everything, and then something turns around and smacks you down like a little bad child. So that's basically the entire game. I'd recommend this game for people that enjoyed playing Zelda, the old original Link to the Past, or the Binding of Isaac, because that's basically how this game is designed. And it is a very solid game, and it's a very enjoyable game. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this review, and please come say hello to Astral Dragon Gaming, subscribe, and click the like down below to make sure that I know what I'm doing for this job. Otherwise, I don't know squat. Have fun and keep playing games.